Storyteller's Connection, where we help each other tell better stories. Welcome to Storyteller's Connection, the podcast. I'm Brighthawk, storyteller and musician. The music you were just listening to was me on the handpan and Gary Stadler on the piano, a dear friend, and I say thank you. Music engineered by Hollis Taylor. And you are warmly invited to join us for the next Storytellers Connection online event, Thursday, February 25th. A story. Let it come and let it go. I could see from high upon the dragon's back that when the dragon moved forward, the dragon's body seemed to be covered in wounds, in scars, and the scars, they glowed a most peculiar color when the dragon breathed forth fire to light our way down the path. The dragon's scars, they glowed with gold, and I became so curious. How is it possible that the dragon had such beautiful scars? So I asked. And the dragon said to me, well, we dragons, we've been slain thousands of times. These wounds, well, they are the source of my power and insight. Your power and insight, I repeated. Why, yes. You see, each of us has wounds. Each of us has scars. And it is the voices in those scars that must be confronted, not us poor innocent dragons. It's not the evil ones or the wicked ones you must worry about. It's the voices in your own scars that must be confronted. Here, let me tell you a story, said the dragon. Once upon a time, there was a great samurai warrior. And the samurai warrior had two great swords on either side of his belt, and he came up to a holy monk and demanded to know, "Oh, holy monk, tell me, what is the difference between heaven and hell?" Well, the orange-robed monk opened his eyes and looked at the samurai warrior head to toe and said, "I cannot tell you the difference between heaven and hell, for you are much too stupid." The samurai was incensed and raised one sword above his head. And then the little monk added, "Oh, and besides that, you are ugly too." Now the samurai was filled with rage, both swords above his head, nearly ready to come down on the monk, when the monk said wisely, "That is hell." Suddenly struck with the wisdom of the monk's words, the samurai dropped his swords, fell to his knees, and said, "Thank you. Ah, gratitude. That is heaven." "You see," said the dragon, "it was the voice in the scars of the samurai that caused him to be filled with rage, to be filled with hell. Why, the voices of our scars, the people who have hurt us, teachers, parents, brothers, sisters, friends, lovers, the list is long. Those scars, those voices, Those are the voices that must be confronted. And when you transform those voices, you will transform your scars. For you see, said the dragon, great quests begin with great questions. So if you want to go on a true adventure, ask great questions. And I realized that the dragon was right and wise and old for a reason. That if I wanted my scars to glow like the dragon's, well, I was going to need to make friends with all of me. I realized that the times that I shouted the loudest was when I felt the smallest. And the times when I got quiet and still was when I had a reservoir of power. And I realized yet again that if you want to go on a true adventure, ask better questions. And it's never why me. Instead, it's a question like, what can I learn from this? How shall I proceed? What is life asking of me? And I realized that if I could confront the voices in my scars, if I could stare down the shame and give gratitude for the wisdom in the scars, then maybe my scars would glow too. A story, a story. Let it come and let it go. Hi there, I'm Bright Hawk, and it's a pleasure to get to share stories with you. I've been doing this for a long time, and yet I would say it's all new this year in a way because things are coming together that can only come together after we all have experiences like the ones we're having now. The story of alchemy is the story of, and the alchemy of storytelling is defined and laid out by Joseph Campbell in The Hero's Journey, and that each of us goes on this journey, and that the story of alchemy is transforming and transmuting lead into gold. And each of us has a story about our own personal transformation of lead into gold. And it is through that process of sharing that I believe we become gold together. You know, when I first started storytelling, I kept myself very far away from the story. My stories were about animals and dragons and fantastical things. And I probably did that for at least 15, 20 years. And then at a certain point, life demanded of me learning the art form of personal storytelling. And that's what I do with Storyteller's Connection, because we all have a story to tell. And if I can help you tell that story, well, then I'm fulfilling part of my mission here on Earth. So I want to invite you to go to brighthawkproductions.com and enjoy the podcasts we've been creating called Storyteller's Connection. Join the mailing list, and then you'll always know about our online event, Storytime Yoga. And it is such a blast to hang out with a little group. They're K to 4, and I tell part of the story, and then Hollis leads them in doing all the animal yoga moves. And you don't have to worry about children sitting still listening to a story because they're all involved. So much wisdom to be found in Buddhist stories. This story ended up in my story file, and I have no idea where it came from or who wrote it. It was on a Xerox on a sheet of paper, and it's one of those wonderful gifts that you open up a folder and go, oh, I love this. And I do. I love the wisdom of the story and transforming the voices of our scars. I want to tell you a quick personal story about doing a Let's Dance program. Many of you know that I toured the country for 5 years with my partner. We did over 500 programs in nursing homes and memory care facilities and veteran homes and rehab facilities, communities all over the country, 30 different states. And it was such an amazing experience. And one of the times we were in a facility where everyone there was either quadriplegic, paraplegic, coma. Almost every single person was hooked up to a lot of machinery. And yet they still brought them out in their beds and chairs and what have you to join our program, Let's Dance activities, where we would sit in a circle. We'd get everybody in a circle. I'd sit in the middle of the circle on a stool where I could spin around, playing my music, telling stories. And I look around and I am taking in the situation and realizing that the next story I'm about to tell is about climbing a mountain. And I'm realizing that these people can't walk. And is it appropriate? Do I keep going? I'm having a moment on stage where, I'm used to a flow and realizing that this might not be the right story to tell. And then suddenly, I think I asked them, shall I tell this story? And they said, yes. And I realized they climb mountains every day. They just do it in a different way. All of us are having our own experience, and everyone can relate with having a scar. Everyone can relate with having to overcome something. Everyone can relate with having come through something that changes you. And that's what a story should do, my friends. You begin a story in one place and you finish in another. And when you do, it is a great gift for your audience. And it was an amazing experience to continue to tell the story and to sing and laugh and realize how much is communicated through our eyes. There was a woman who had absolutely dancing, delightful eyes the entire program. And it changed me. It helped me realize that, once again, it is not about what you know or who you know. When you connect with folks in a way where you say, I have scars too, and I'm willing to share them with you, and I can appreciate that you have them as well, we meet in a place of humanity and coexistence that everyone can see themselves in each other's story. And that's what a good story does for us. And I'm delighted to be able to share tips and tricks with folks to help all of us tell better stories. Thank you for listening to Storyteller's Connection podcast. I'm Brighthawk. And you are warmly invited to join us for the next Storytellers Connection online event, Thursday, February 25th.